Hey guys, how's it going? Ricky with Vinci. It's been a while. We haven't had a live stream in a little bit. It does look a little overexposed. One, maybe take a look on the camera side and see if there's some setting. So how's it going? We wanted to chat with you guys because we've got some updates on what we've been working on. I've gotten a lot of comments asking, like, where's the home stuff? We were supposed to do home stuff, and it's been a while. It has been a really crazy end of the year. We've had a lot of videos and stuff. Of course, there's audio coming out of my phone, trying to read the chats and stuff. But we've had a really crazy end of the year. It's been really fun. Our channel's grown a lot, so it's a good thing. We've had a lot of opportunities. We were kind of worried with the recession and stuff, like what should we do? We weren't sure if we'd have sponsors and all of that. But it's been a good year, and we're really excited to say that starting January after the holidays, we're going to really be kicking it into overgear. We have a ton of fun projects and ideas, and it all starts with the solar. So let's start with that really quick. Our plan, my goal, dream, whatever you want to call it, was to get a standing seam metal roof. But that didn't work out because I got the numbers back, and it was going to cost like $80,000. And that's not including solar panels, right? That's just for the roof. And then I'd have to pay $30,000 in solar panels. It just wasn't going to happen. So we decided to go with, we wanted to have kind of a dark gray roof, and then our house is going to be really white. So one of the upcoming home series videos is going to be about, reflective paints for homes to keep them cooler, and insulation. We have this really cool phase changing insulation from a company called QE Platinum, and they've sent us a sample. They were like, hey, if you want to make a video, we'll send you a box of stuff. So we're going to make a couple of different little test boxes. We'll do one with no insulation. We'll do one with regular fiberglass, kind of blown in insulation. And then we'll do one with this phase change material. We'll put the thermometers inside of them and track the entire 24-hour period and see what they do. But the premise is pretty much that when it gets hot outside, this solid gel will melt and become a liquid inside of this pouch. It's all enclosed. And when it does that, it absorbs a ton of energy. And then at night, when things are cooling off, it'll solidify again and release that heat back. So actually, right now in San Diego, it's really warm in the daytime, but bad at night. It gets pretty cold lately. So this would be really cool because it would actually keep the house cooler in the daytime and then keep it warm later into the night as it solidifies and releases heat. Anyway, a lot of really fun stuff. But back to the roof. We decided to go with a Owens Corning product. It's a duration cool asphalt shingle. We did a lot of research, and there was a lot of comments from you guys talking about or asking about, can you do rain capture on on an asphalt shingle roof? So I did a little bit of research, and what I found, they said, wait a couple of months, let some of the off-gassing happen, but it should be fine. So we were thinking this is going to be good. And from the street, as I'm watching these guys install it, I don't know if Juan is not going to be able to pull up the footage, huh? Is there any way? He's going to work on it. Maybe if you do HDMI 2 from your MacBook, and then you can swap into it. So he's going to take a look. We'll see if we can share some of the footage, but we've got some drone footage of all of this happening. The total price turned out to be about $31,000. Not cheap, of course, it's a new roof, but the guys that we worked with were pretty cool, and they gave us a pretty reasonable price, especially because my biggest fear was this house is going to have problems because that roof was in such bad shape. We've made videos, and we'll do a follow-up where we actually will show all of you guys this stuff. But so Juan, if you want it, you could just HDMI 2 port on the ATEM and then swap on your laptop. Huh? Oh, I think he's okay. So we're gonna check into the audio situation, but so yeah, I'm gonna try to pull it up. The roof was in bad shape, and kind of knew it was gonna be because we had a solar heating for the pool up there that was leaking, and it was just leaking day after day, and we knew it, and we were trying to figure out what to do, and it was really challenging. Are you trying to take the camera off? So we knew that it was going to be a problem, and it was. Looking at this footage that we saw from the drone footage, there were all sorts of panels and pieces of wood that had to be replaced, tons of it. About as bad as I was expecting. But the good news is we're going to have a brand new roof, and I'm just over the moon. You guys have no idea how much stress that freaking roof has caused me because we moved into this house and we knew that it was going to be a problem, right? But we bought a new house and we went full time on YouTube, and it was like, when can we do this thing? So it just became kind of a stressful thing. And actually, about a month ago, we had a really heavy rain, which is not common in San Diego. About, we had like 20 hours of rain, like a whole day, which is very uncommon. And there was a leak in one of the rooms that I'm sitting in. So there was actually an active leak happening, and as a result, we could see the bubbling in the paint. So the paint was basically the last thing holding this water. So I kind of poked it and dried it out after it stopped raining. So this roof can't happen soon enough. But as soon as we finish this thing, and I think today's the final day. It's been about day 4 or 5. Is that right? 4 or 5 days. Tons of removal and everything else. They're going to have our new roof, and as soon as they do, we're going to start talking about the solar process and where we're going to put the panels and all of that. So it's been a journey for sure, but we're getting close. And I've kind of been waiting because for me, the home project, the home series, it has to start with solar, because if we're going to take out our natural gas furnace or anything natural gas in favor of electricity, it's going to be expensive if we don't produce some of that power ourselves. And we still need to talk about batteries, and there's a whole slew of other things. But if you're talking about going solar, the first thing I would tell you, make sure your roof is solid. Even if you're thinking, oh, I only have like 5 years left, don't put solar panels up. You're going to regret it, because eventually you'll have to pay someone or get up there yourself. It's not crazy. I could do it, but I'm 38 years old. If you're older or you don't want to get up on a roof, which is very understandable, you're not going to want to take those panels off. They'll charge you a lot of money to do that, to then do the roof and then put them back. You got to pay them to put them back again. Don't do that. Best thing to do if you need to go solar is have a really good roof. And it just kind of makes sense, right? If you don't ever think about your roof until you do. If your roof is leaking or has any kinds of problems, you're not going to be able to do very much. And so as a result, start with that. Start with a good roof, and then slowly think about solar. Now for me, that really sucked, because in our previous house, we had this tile, like a concrete tile, which was okay. And as a result, we just went solar. It was easy. And our roof was in great shape. We were there for 10 years. The roof is still in great shape. That roof is going to last 50 or 70 years or something like that. Our new roof has a 50-year warranty, and I'd be 88 years old, something like that. I think it's going to be okay. We'll deal with it then. I think we'll be a little more comfortable financially at that point. But that's the thing with going solar that people don't think about, and I never thought about until now, which is if you have to add the cost of the roof to it, that does complicate things. The good news is if you're getting a new roof with your solar, talk to your solar installer or talk to like some pro that you trust, because the portion of the roof that needs to be changed for solar can be included in the tax credit, right? So if my roof was $30,000 and I'm putting panels on, this much of it, maybe $10,000 of that $30,000 or whatever could be rolled into the price for your solar system, and you can get the tax credit of 30% on all of it. And that's kind of what I'm looking into. I'm not really fully sure yet, but yeah, we're going to look into it. There's a buzz in the audio. Is that what you're thinking about, Juan? So where's that coming from? Yeah, we were kind of rushing to do this because we're going to have a new setup, and we're going to go live every week. That's going to happen shortly. I wanted to chat with you guys because it's just been so long. But yeah, we'll figure that out. There's a ground loop, I think, right? Is that what you're saying? Okay. Apologies for the audio. We'll try to get it figured out. No, it's not. It's not the machines outside. It's something in here, and I forget what we did to alleviate it. Yeah, we'll figure that out. Let me just take a quick look at the comments and stuff. Yeah, there's a couple of you guys in here. I really appreciate all of you guys taking time to join us. Yeah, high pitch whine. Okay. We'll see what we can do about that. I'm not sure, but going solar is something I've been waiting for so long. I don't know. Actually, we haven't published that video yet. I have my final numbers in, by the way, for my electric bills. I'm gonna leave it to you guys to take a guess. I'll give you 30 seconds or so to guess. 1 full year, 12 months. November we moved in. We had all of November to now. We had November's bill come in. 12 months. What do you think my electricity price is? How much did I pay for electricity? All right. Closest guess we'll figure something out. We'll do some kind of a prize or something. But the final data came back, and I was just shocked. And even this last month, our bill was really, really high. And I think the reason is because we have some new rendering computers, and so we have all these new computers that when they're running 500 watts each. a couple of those. So as a result, it was just ludicrous, and it wasn't. Holy crap! Someone is. Okay, well, we have a winner so far on the guest situation, but yeah. So as a result, our bills were high this month, which is weird. We didn't run the air conditioning, so it wasn't like it was air conditioning related. But I'm ready to go solar because our buyback period, the payback period, is going to be very short as a result of just how much we pay. And in my research for going solar and like predictions or suggestions, recommendations for where you live, I gotta tell you, San Diego is pretty much the worst place for electricity prices. I think there's places in Hawaii that are worse, but nowhere in California is it more expensive, and nowhere in America is it more expensive than it is in San Diego. So it is pretty brutal. All right, so we've had some guesses, and so Dylan says $760 for the year. Dylan, I wish we paid $760 last month in electricity. JW says $6,200. Mark Allister says $4,900, and short version 1 says $5,200. So I think it is okay. The winner is in. Skate John G says $5,600. That's correct. Our bill, Claudia, did you hear that? So our Claudia's in here as well, my wife, and when I put that spreadsheet together, I knew it was high because, we pay the bills, I look at it, but I was shocked. It was about $5,600, which is absolutely stupid. And it's kind of the price you pay, right? You have a monopoly. What can I do? I have no recourse except to go solar. So I'm going solar. But the cool part is, even with the new roof, $30,000, the solar is going to be probably around $30,000, so that's $60,000. I don't really factor the roof because what are you going to do? You need a new roof. I have a leaky, bad, crummy roof, tons of like rotted out wood, things that need to be repaired. I don't really count that against my solar system, right? Because it doesn't really make any sense. Even if you don't want to go solar, what are you going to do? Not replace your roof? You don't want to do that because it'll ruin your entire life if you had a leak. So $30,000 for the new roof. The reason we've waited is because I wanted to save enough money to be able to afford all this stuff. So it took until about December to do that, but we're in good shape. $30,000 for the new roof, and then $30,000 for the panels and everything. The total solar will be about $30,000. And we're getting a 10.8 kilowatt system. 29 panels are about 400 watts each. And we'll do an entire episode on this stuff. We have episode 1, which will be about the planning and the panels. Episode 2 will be microinverters or inverters. Episode 3 will be the entire data and all that kind of stuff. So we'll do a full series about a buyer's guide for solar, but like just broad strokes. Let's say it costs about $3 per watt where I live for solar. So as a result, it'll be about $30,000. The cool part is I should be able to produce all of the energy that I need. And the caveat there is that our house, we live on a hill, and so the sun kind of sets behind the mountain pretty early, like around 3 o'clock in the winter and 5:30 or 6 in the summer. So we lose quite a few hours of peak pricing for our panels. And that's why I want to get a bigger system. And honestly, I might even add more panels to it eventually over a patio area or something else, because currently this 1 year, by the way, didn't include EV charging. I've been supercharging for the entire time I've lived here at the house, because what I wanted was kind of a baseline of like, what does the house need? So that $5,600 is not including supercharging. And if I included supercharging, I don't know, it would be thousands and thousands more. But one other cool thing is I actually have data from the Powerwall from our previous house. So I've been able to look at the data, and the owner was happy to let me. He wanted to make sure everything was working well and stuff. So over the entire year, my old house, without charging now, because with charging, my bill was like $600 for the whole year. But the cool thing is the new owners of the old house run the air conditioning a lot more often. They're not as frugal as I was, but over a 12-year period, our utility, SDG&E, owes them money. They have a credit after 12 months, which is pretty amazing to buy a house that you don't have to pay for electricity, right? That's my goal here as well, and we're gonna try to get there. Jeremiah Powell says, my town is ridiculous. They have a connection fee every month for solar. Oh no, that's horrible. And if you send power to the grid, you can't get any money back. I live in Oklahoma. So Jeremiah, that's horrible. So I don't know if you've heard of SPAN. They're like it's a smart meter. It's like your electrical service panel, but it has intelligence built in. It has computers that can actually read every individual circuit, tell you how much power your home is using, And I'm getting one of those installed. I've just been waiting for the permitting. And the reason is they have a car charger as well. So if you combine the two together, what you can have the system do is say, okay, noon, I'm making so much power and I don't want to waste it by giving it to them and they're making money on you, Jeremiah, for free. Instead, go charge my car. And then if your air conditioning turns on, the span will lower the charge rate to your car to just fit under that solar production curve. And then as soon as the car is charged, of course, it'll go back. Or if anything else turns on or the sun's starting to set, it'll taper the charge rate of your car and just kind of match your usage. And I think that could be cool for you. Obviously, these aren't cheap. The span is it's probably like $4,000. Installation is probably another $1,000 or so, or two. And you might need a service panel upgrade and things, but there's probably some other options out there that are like that. But what I would tell you to do is capitalize on every bit of your production when you can. So any big appliances that you have, you know, if in the summertime, run that air conditioning, get the house cool while the sun is up instead of giving it to them for free, because that is ludicrous. I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah, Mark, that is without charging. And JW says that's the dream, energy freedom. It's such a funny thing, right? It's not like a car or a laptop that you can touch. It's energy freedom. It's kind of an abstract idea, but man, I obsess about it too. I love the thought of making my own power. I really do. Which will be cool. All right, so Greg says, I think utilizing a wrecked Tesla battery as energy storage is going to be huge going forward. I think you're right, Greg, and as the number of Teslas or the EVs in the world are growing, there's going to be more accidents and you might have access to it. But there's probably, yeah, I have to kind of do the math, but that's interesting. You got to share that kind of information as you get going on it. Tang Fish says, lithium prices are going through the roof. I'm waiting for hydrogen fuel cells to catch on. Very interesting idea. I think we'll come back to that one. But yes, lithium prices are surging. We've covered that in a few videos. John says in South Carolina, electricity is in the hundreds, but now with $60,000 solar in winter, it has been about 45 lately. Yeah, so it sounds like in the winter you're not getting as much production, but you're probably using less electricity as well. But at least your solar is doing something. So John, how big is your system? I'm kind of curious about that. Greg says, and so Greg has pretty much captured the entire essence of what my plan is at this house. I've had this lifelong dream to make a completely sustainable home, and I just didn't want to do it in the old house because I knew I'd move. So why do all these things if I couldn't enjoy them for decades, right? But we're in our new house now, we're staying here, we're not going anywhere, and we're going to do this. And he says, well water and solar, I completely agree. We have plans to dig a well here where we live on a mountain. It'll be hundreds of feet, it'll be expensive. But my plan is to figure out a system where we can do rainwater capture and other things, maybe run it through a purifier, like a reverse osmosis thing, and pump any extra water in the winter back into the well as well, to be sustainable. My plan is not to just pump water out and eventually, have issues with that. My goal is to use it as a major water storage medium, to pump water in when we have excess. Because here in San Diego, it's really crazy. We had a 20-hour rain where it just dumped. And then now it's pure sunshine. And we might not get rain for another couple of weeks. But of course, while we were doing the roofing, we got a little drizzle. Of course, right? You have no roof, of course it'll rain. But it's really going to be key to capture it. One thing I'm curious about from you guys is what part of the equation is most important to you? And is it water, is it electricity? Is it saving money on bills? Is it being like emergency prepared? I'm kind of curious because as we make these home series videos, I want to really make sure that they're dialed into what you want to see, and we'll definitely try to do that. Solar power that well pump. Well, my solar is going to power everything. So our goal is to heat the pool with a heat pump pool heater. That's a pretty big expense we have coming up next year. To run air conditioning if we need it, charge the car, all of it. Run our computers. The one thing that we've been doing lately, if you've been seeing our videos, Juan has just become quite a master with Blender, which is a 3D animation software. But it's really tricky to pull off because there's so much rendering time. It takes like maybe a minute or two per frame, 30 frames in a second. You can kind of start to see. But we're really excited. We invested into the company, and now we're up to 4 really powerful, RTX 3090 and 4090 GPU computers to do some of these things more quickly. But those things are energy hogs, and I'd imagine the amount of electricity that we're going to use is only going to go up from here, right? Every new heat pump this, or every new appliance or gadget we get, smart thermostats, or all this stuff is going to add to the overhead. So that's where our 10 kilowatt system, as big as it sounds, is kind of a baseline for us. I think we're going to eventually need more. I think 15 would probably do it. And not to mention the battery part as well. David, how's it going, David? He says, I had to replace my roof prior to installing solar. Now that it's installed, my producing power and saving money and helping the environment. Well done. That was smart. I know it really sucks. When you get excited about going solar, the last thing you want to do is talk about a roof, right? But I'm telling you right now, because if let's say, for example, I just decided, it's fine, this house is okay, let's just go solar, right? I would be sitting here at the next heavy rain talking about water coming through the roof, and could you imagine, right? And now you have panels up there, they're going to charge you again, and you're going to pay for it. So I think if you want to go solar, think of it as a long-term journey, because really, if you're going to go solar, make sure you're in the house you want to be in long-term. Otherwise, like in my previous house, I got 10 years of joy out of it, right? So it was worth it. And when I sold my house sold for a premium, and it sold really quickly because of the solar and the Powerwall. So in my case, it paid for itself and then paid me a profit when I sold it because of the premium that my house sold for. But make sure you're going to stay in your house for a while, because depending on where you live, will a home buyer value your investment in solar in a positive way? In San Diego, the answer is heck yes, because to get it permitted, to get it installed, it's not cheap. And if you can just walk into a house and not pay electric bills and just run your air conditioning, that is a luxury that any home buyer here will pay. But like if you're in Oklahoma, for example, as somebody mentioned, will home buyers there value it? And if the answer is no, well, then there's a risk that you buy panels and you do all this stuff, and then you move into your dream house 4 years from now and you don't get that money back. So step one, think about it as a long-term picture. Are you going to be living there long-term? And if you are, a new roof is just the most unglamorous, unsexy, but absolutely critical thing you have to have. And once you've got that, then you can go solar. So, and also for me, the other advice I've always given people with solar panels and stuff, and if you guys have questions, please feel free. I'm here to answer any questions about this stuff. But my advice has always been, I don't like all these fancy loans and things, right? Like somebody was telling me, and don't talk to solar people like door to door. They drive me crazy. I would say, if I had to say my least favorite part about solar, is the salespeople. They drive me absolutely up the wall. It's people who know way less than I do trying to tell me things and tell me why I have to buy them today, and because tomorrow come on, guys. Don't fall for that. Sleep on it. Don't ever make multi-$1,000 decisions, on the spot. But you can always get a smaller system. You can upgrade it later, and you can always, take your time. Don't rush into things, because like this salesman told me, hey, you can. There's a new program where you don't have to pay for anything today. It's always, you don't have to pay anything today, but nothing's free, right? You're going to pay. And what they're doing is, it's like a lien on your house, and then they tack it onto your property taxes, and so now you're paying a higher property tax rate for 30 years or whatever the term is. And all that stuff is just complicated. How does that work? How do I get it paid off early? I don't know, right? But I know how money works, and you can get a loan, right? If you're comfortable to get a loan to pay for it and stuff, by all means. But don't feel the pressure to spend $30,000 to save $100 a month or something, right? Do the math, and I'll make calculators. I actually have a video coming shortly that will get into some of this stuff. But my strategy has always been start small, start with what you can afford. In our case, we've saved up cash all year, and we're just going to buy the system outright. We've already paid for the panels. We've already paid for the microinverters. They're all sitting here. And then we found an installer who's willing to install everything for $1 a watt. And as a result, our $30,000 system really is not going to cost that. It'll cost much less. I think I mentioned there's a company called Solar Steels, solarsteels.com. There's a link to it in the description actually of this video. And what they do is they buy used solar panels and they have them on their website. The tricky thing with them is you might not always find exactly what you want, and you might not find the quantity that you want. But I got lucky. I found these 400 watt, they were commercial panels. Most of their stuff is commercial, because what people do is they'll get solar, for example, on a Walmart or some commercial property. And then if the tenant moves or something and they don't want to pay for it, they'll come up and rip them down and sell them like, secondhand. And these panels are incredibly resilient. If you saw the panels that I have, I think they're like 5 or 6 years old. They look like brand new, honestly. There's some scratches where the bolts hold them down, but other than that, the glass and the panels look perfect. And instead of paying, so for 10,000 watts, a 10 kilowatt system, I should have paid about 11,000 for the panels, and I paid 5,500. Pretty great. I got half price, right? That's one really easy way to save. We'll talk about some of the strategies of how to save and try to, bring the prices down. The tricky part is not every installer is going to work with you if, just to install. Because what they're trying to do, they're trying to make as much money as possible. And they'll get the panels at wholesale prices. They'll charge you retail. They'll pocket the difference. And the same thing on the microinverters. And what they want to do is they want to pay for everything. And unfortunately, one of the big costs to solar is all the salespeople and the leads and the commissions and stuff, all the dirty stuff that doesn't really help you. They're just middlemen who take a cut. And one of the best ways to get around it is source your panels, source your inverters, and then take your time and try to find an installer. Or you can go all the way and install them yourself. Now that's tricky. There's electrical work, there's roofing work. I'm totally comfortable with the electrical part, but the roofing part is something I've never done. And like I mentioned before, I just don't want one day to get a call when I'm on. It'll be on a trip. Here's how it would play out. My wife will call me. There's a leak. I have a bucket in the living room. There's a leak above where you put the panels, and I'll be on a trip, and I'll just be like, oh man, did I not do every step right? Was the flashing not right? I'm just not a roofer, and I don't want to be, and I don't think I want to take that chance. So I'm going to pay the $1 a watt for the installation. Casey Green, what's up, Casey? I haven't talked to you in a little while. Casey says $1 per watt is great. Now, $1 per watt for installation. That doesn't include the microinverters and the panels and everything else. It's like the permitting and the installation. But yeah. So Greg says, I recommend Aloha Solar in San Diego. Interesting. That's cool. By the way, another thing, I've been chatting with the people who are going to be doing my solar is a company called Bella Electric. And Juan, are you able to leave a chat? Comment? Check out GoEV. I think it's goev.com. But the people that I'm working with, the owners, one of the owners, his name's Kevin Hayes. He's been amazing, and he's been helping me with all kinds of projects. He'll be helping me with the span install, the car charger. He'll be helping me with the solar install as well. And so he runs a company called GoEV, and they install, residential level 2 chargers. If you have a business and you want to have a level 3 fast charger, they do those too. And we'll put links, and we'll do a lot of coverage in the future about some of this stuff. But I was just blown away by Kevin and how helpful he was. He's got my interest at heart. He's really helped me understand prices and stuff and help me out. But I will put that all up there. And Pika Delphon Michael says, my solar is free on the install. Sounds like he did it himself, which is amazing. Levent says, I just got a 10.8 kilowatt system in sunny Turkey. Would this be enough for car charging? A 10 kilowatt system? Yeah, you bet. Now, if you're trying to be charging your car on sunshine, you should charge your car, during the high noon, like from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Those 4 hours or so is a really good window to get the most production from your panels. And the second thing is, what you have to keep in mind will be like air conditioning and other big appliances. The big appliances really, it's air conditioning. So if you're charging your car on a level 2, like at 8 kilowatts, and then your 5 kilowatt AC turns on, well, that might be more than your solar. But you're still going to save a ton of money, because instead of paying 13 kilowatts an hour, which would be 13 kilowatt hours for 1 hour, having both running, you'd be paying half that or something. So 10 kilowatts is a pretty big system. That's actually exactly what I'm putting up. So we'll have the same size panel. John says, they say to clean panels every 6 months to get better power. Yeah, it depends on how dusty where you live is and how much rain you get. If you get rain pretty frequently and your panels are sloped with your roof, they don't get too bad. But if you have the capacity, like if you could take a hose or you can get up there and do it yourself twice a year, that's what I do. I get up on the roof and I clean my panels probably every quarter, every 3 4 months or so in my previous house. And I noticed like a 3 to 4% improvement on output, usually when I did it. But it's risky. You don't want to fall. Like, I'm not giving advice to put you guys in danger or something. So like do what you think makes sense for you. But the cool thing is if you did nothing in terms of cleaning them, they do pretty well, honestly, especially with the rain. So AC unit for the summer is the big savings in 2023. So Pika, Pika, Delphon, Michael, can you elaborate? Are you getting a new AC installed? That's something I've been thinking about. Is I think my current system is pretty inefficient, and there's probably a good reason to upgrade. Yeah, there's all kinds of different solar installation options and stuff. One thing you guys should know about me, I'm very simple, and I'm a simple guy. I don't want, I want to own my stuff, and I'll save until I can, and I'll suck it up. I'm not gonna lie. 1 year of paying $5,600 for electricity is brutal, right? I don't want to have go another year because at that rate, you could do the math real quick. Let's say there's like $500 of base charges that are going to be there anyway. If I'm saving 5 grand a year, I get my tax credit pays for about 10 grand, so I owe 20 grand. I'd pay that off in 4 years. That's crazy, right? And after 4 years, I'd have a system that's good for another 20, 25 years, just making me money and allowing me to run the appliances and stuff. One question I have for you guys is, how frugal are you with electricity, right? I'm kind of old school. My parents were immigrants, so it was kind of like we never ran the air conditioning very often. We were always been very frugal with electricity. And I remember in my previous house having solar. It was the first time I ever, especially when I got the second part, right? Because in my previous house, I was a very poor home buyer in 2010 when I got my panels. All I could afford was a $10,000 1.1 kilowatt system, and I paid for it. I paid it off in 1 year. And then in 2019, I added 4 kilowatts to it for a total of 5 kilowatt system. And once I did that, I started running the air conditioning comfortably. I just ran it. And I didn't worry too much about it because even with running it and with the power wall in the evenings and stuff, my bills were pretty much zero. So that's the beauty for me, the beauty of solar is to be, not to run around after the kids turning off lights and like to obsess about, are we going to have a huge electric bill, but to be a little bit more comfortable, run the things you want to run, be comfortable in your own house, and not have a crazy bill. You got to remember too, our office, our business is here at our house, right? So we have two buildings on the property, and this little tiny house is where we run our business out of. So all of our people are here all day. We don't go into the office. Like if you live alone and you go into an office all day and you come home at 6 p.m., your electric bills are probably very tiny. But we're the opposite. Everyone is here, all these computers, all the networking gear, all this stuff. Air conditioning in 2 houses, right, in the summertime, it kind of gets out of control. Oh, really quick too. One of the other easier ways to go solar would be with a kind of an off-grid system, right? So EcoFlow is powering our house right now that we're in. And the way we do this is we had some panels laying on the ground plugged into the EcoFlow. So they charged from the panels, and then we ran the office only, not the house, but the office on EcoFlow batteries. So what you could do is a product like the EcoFlow Delta Pro, for example, it has solar charging built in. And it has an inverter. It has everything in one package, right? So you literally just plug in the solar panels into it, and then you plug in an extension cord or something, and you can power whatever you wanted. And so at first, what I did is I had... What happened? What? You good? Okay. No, feel free to talk.
Sorry, it's just I saw an audio comment.
Audio comment? Another audio comment? So Juan is shaking his head because of the audible. The audio is terrible. Do you want to take... Let's do a little quick intermission and see if we can troubleshoot this. It's probably annoying enough for people to take an intermission. So we might lose audio here for a second while Juan experiments. Do you remember what the issue was last time? Oh, is the audio going into the camera? Unplug that. Do you unplug it? Okay. Audio is still coming in, and so the ground loop, we have a ground loop, and that it stems from the fact that the I think because the way the sound device is being powered, right? It needs to be powered from a different brick. The Sony has charge now, right? It's fully charged. So what we could do is we could plug this power that goes to the Sony. Could you try to plug that into the ATEM? We hear you guys. We're gonna try to work on the audio. Oh, sorry, that fixed it. We're good. That was it. So we had the audio going into the camera and into the thing. So cool. Thank you guys. Apologize for that. Thank you for letting us know that we got it. Cool. So EcoFlow. We're not going to run EcoFlow in the main house. For the main house, I'm going to go with maybe a Powerwall, I think, because Powerwall plays really well with Span. But on our office, we've been on EcoFlow for a while. What's really cool is, by the way, our video this week was on a company in Japan called NTT, who invited us out to their research and development headquarters in Japan, in Tokyo. And we did a video on, they're doing research right now into space-based solar farms, right? So gathering light in space where there's less atmospheric disturbance into a crystal that emits infrared, shooting a laser beam down to Earth to a special panel that is built for infrared light. It's a fascinating video. It's one of the most fun videos I've ever made. We're really proud of it. So if you haven't watched it, go check that video out. It is linked in the description. But when we were doing that video, I was in Japan and the power went out. So one thing I've learned, we moved 2 miles from our previous house. From where I used to live to where I live now, 2 miles. That's it. But we're on the other side of the mountain. We're up higher now. And I think the way they've run electrical, maybe it was older up here and newer where I used to be. Because the electricity is proven to be way more unreliable. In 12 years of my old house, I remember 4 power outages in 12 years. One was really bad. It was during the fires. If you guys remember, there were fires here. And I had no power for almost a day. Other than that, in 12 years, 10 minutes, a couple of times. Already in 1 year, we had an 8-hour, Juan, was it 8 hours? 8-hour power outage. And of course, while I'm on travel, right? And my kids are here with family and my and their grandma who's taking care of them, and the power goes out. And Juan is running. So we had power in the office, and Juan had to run extension cords out to the fridges to keep the fridge in the main house working. But because of EcoFlow, we were able to do that. And we had a sponsor previously. I remember EcoFlow sent us a generator. It's a dual fuel generator. It can run on gasoline or propane. I remember thinking, really? What am I going to do with this? And they were like, check it out. See if you like it. I was like, okay. And this literally happened right then. So I told Juan, hey, check the battery levels before you go to bed. Check update the battery levers. And if they start dipping to like 30%, just because you don't know when the power will come back, when the power goes out, we had a propane tank, right, for a gas grill. You plug it into the EcoFlow and you set it up to just keep that battery charged. And it'll give you 20 kilowatt hours on a, 14-pound or whatever natural gas propane tank. Sorry, not natural gas. And we have battery backup. So now if we had a cloudy day, for example, the power goes out, the solar is not charging the batteries back, we have another alternative to stay in power. And you guys might be thinking like, why do you care so much about this? Our business literally is on the line, right? If the power is out for 8 hours for you at home, that sucks. But I remember in the past when the power goes out, I was like, oh, great excuse to just start doing some reading. I'd put all the computers away and I'd just read a book. But our business is like tied to us now, right? So having an outage is unacceptable. Even for an hour, I'd be paying my team, our video editors, and we couldn't be doing any work. And that's not good. And I think the 1 year being here long enough now, knowing that the power is way more unreliable for whatever reason. And the day that the power went out, was it raining? Was the weather bad? Clear blue skies, right? Who the hell knows why it happened? It's frustrating. So if you live in a place where power is unreliable, definitely keep that in mind. Yeah, so there's some comment about pressure washing panels. Don't pressure wash the panels. There's really no need. It's glass. Glass is pretty easy to clean. In the past, what I would do, just an ordinary kitchen mop. I would just get a mop and just kind of, that way you can get a little bit of cleaning pressure. And then like a long stick broom squeegee that they make for like window cleaning to dry them. Because if you don't dry them, and the hard water spots, depending on how hard your water is, it'll just kind of put little circles of the calcium and lime deposit. So you can fight that with that squeegee. Definitely don't pressure wash them. There's no need. Glass is an incredibly easy surface to clean. So you don't need that. Matt Farrell can give you good info on power walls. I've had power walls. I had a power wall for years. And we've made dozens. We made a half a dozen videos about them. Matt is actually moving too, so he has to figure all this stuff out again. And again, whoever Matt sells his house to is going to love it because he'll have solar and power walls just like my people did. Robert, hey Robert, it's been a while since I've talked to Robert. I need to get Robert on a live stream. We got to get the interview. There's a little interview link there. What we could do is send these guys the link and they can join. And we got to get hip to doing a proper good live stream where we can have guests hop on and have the comments right below. I think the software that we're using now, we got to get rid of it. But anyways, how's it going, Robert? Robert says, great that the power is so unreliable at your location. Create a QR code with your channel link and run around your neighborhood. You can get a lot from commissions. Interesting you mentioned that. I think my neighbors are annoyed with me because there have been 2 times, and I'm sure, did anyone come and knock on your door and tell you, do you have power? So we're tripping our neighbors out because they're at home and there's no power. And what do you do when there's no power? You go and check, make sure everybody else has no power, right? And they open their door and they're looking at our house lit up. And like, what the hell's going on, right? And what's funny is they know now that we have batteries, at least in the office, and that's why we have power. But even then, it's just one of those things like you just don't know, so you got to go check. So every time the power goes out, we get a knock on the door. Hey, Ricky, is your power out? It's like, yes, the power is out, but in our office we have backup batteries. And Robert, that's brilliant. All right, take a note. We're gonna make some QR codes and at least go check out these videos about batteries. Batteries are one of those things that's like a roof. You never think about a battery when you don't need it, right? And then as soon as the power goes out, I remember when we had children, especially young children, breast milk, fridges, stuff is critical. Like there's just no other way to put it. If you have health issues and you have health equipment that can't be, that you can't live without, check with your state. In California, there's actually a special program for people who have health conditions that require, I don't know, like dialysis or like critical life-saving equipment, and they'll pay for your power wall or like a battery. I know SolarEdge makes a battery now. Enphase has a battery. Kohler, the toilet and sink company, they have a battery. I've been wanting to chat with them about theirs. But there's tons of programs available, and the solar panels get a lot of love and attention because they're solar. They make power. They produce energy and they save you on your bills. Batteries aren't quite as sexy because they don't produce anything, right? You have to charge them with something. So you need solar to charge them or an outlet. But the power of a battery cannot be stated enough. You can offset your power usage. You can run your house when the power is not around. That kind of stuff is really huge. So KP HVAC. I need a good HVAC guy. If you're in San Diego, you gotta let me know. KP HVAC says, I've got an EcoFlow River Pro to handle my CPAP machine. Oh, that is brilliant. If you have the receipts and stuff, check with your state. They might reimburse you for that. And the River Pro, a CPAP machine, does that use a lot of power? I'm curious. If you could let me know, KP HVAC. I have quite a few family members that have CPAP machines. So like how many watts does that draw? And would a River Pro be enough to run it for, I don't know, like overnight or, I'm kind of curious. A Delta Pro definitely would, but that's more money too. Rick Bryan says, install hurricane clips when doing a new roof. So hurricane clips. The hurricane, is that on the roof or the solar part? Either way, we live in a place where there's no wind. We don't really get hurricanes and stuff. So whatever the building code recommends, our roof, we just got the permitting done. So it'll be up to the latest standards of everything. And it's just not a concern for us here. Yeah, KP says he's in Seattle. Ah, man. Okay. I need a good HVAC person because there's a couple of little projects that I'm working on. And that's another trade that I'm just not proficient in. So Dusty, I don't know if you guys should know Dusty. Dusty Green is officially part of the team. Dusty, me, our writers, Juan, we all chat about future topics and stuff. So Dusty, I appreciate you, brother. He says, He's asking if he likes it and any good Black Friday deals. There are, by the way, if you guys are looking for batteries and stuff, and we've been talking about doing a video on kind of a buyer's guide for the holiday season, but there's some of the sales are still going on. It was bigger during Black Friday, but they might be lingering, and depending on inventory and things, people might extend. So EcoFlow had a really killer sales season. Our Discord, by the way, join our Discord if you're new. If you've not been a part of this before, we are going to be really becoming much more active on Discord as we start doing the home series. And we're going to be talking to all of you about ideas, things that we should look out or check into. So Juan, would it be possible to throw a Discord link in the chat? All right, so Juan is going to try to put a Discord link in the chat. So come join our Discord, but our Discord is going to be much more active with some of these ideas and stuff. And in our Discord in the last month or so, tons and tons of people were talking about how much, there were EcoFlow deals. EcoFlow is a big one. There were some other brands as well, but EcoFlow is like one of the companies that everyone was talking about. Casey says, only the houses built to code survived the direct hit in Florida recently. My South Carolina house has hurricane clips per code, but SE does get hit. Interesting. So, yeah, the devastation from the hurricane a couple months ago was just horrible. Alex he runs a channel called Ticker Symbol U. He lives in Tampa. And I remember chatting with him like every hour when it was happening. He had no power for like a day or two. But yes, the building codes are updated every couple of years. Typically in California, I think it's every 3 years. And whatever you do, make sure everything is up to code. There's a reason why we have codes. We learn, right? We didn't know what we were doing until we learned what we're doing. But we never know everything, and it's an evolutionary process. Tom Summers. Hey, Tom. I appreciate you. Tom says, yo, Ricky, 100% off-grid on my boat. So, okay, that's a very interesting point. I've lately been feeling overwhelmed. I think, so I'll give you guys a little bit of background, right? So I've been an employee until a year and a half ago. I've always had a corporate job, right? So I was at Salesforce, a big enterprise software company, for about 5 years before going full-time on YouTube. And I remember software engineers and software companies, from Thanksgiving to New Year's, nothing's going on. No one's really working that hard. You're kind of, there's a couple of things here and there, but it's a ton of time off. Everyone's on vacation, so nobody plans anything. There's no major releases or anything. So I love this time of year because I was just kind of just chilling, watching some TV, kind of catching up on shows, right? It was my time to hang out. And this year has been the opposite. I'm working like 7 days a week. I traveled to Japan. I've been jet lagged trying to write and make. And so, yeah, it's been kind of grueling. So I've kind of backed away, but I think I'm still going to do this thing. What we want to do next year, possibly next year, is start a couple of series every year. It'll be like a season. Like season 1 will be buying an old RV and retrofitting it, right? And we thought about, oh, well, what if we bought a Ford Lightning or a Cybertruck or some truck, Rivian, and we hauled the trailer and it was all electric? But that's stupid because like how many people in here are gonna, and me included, are gonna be able to afford a $100,000 truck and then buy a trailer and then spend $30,000 on batteries and solar? It just doesn't make any sense. So what does it accomplish, right? So what I was thinking for season 1 is to buy an old gas RV. Like buy something around 2002, right? 20 years old-ish. Buy like a 24-footer, an old RV, Class C is what I like. And then have this kind of roll-out, fold-out solar panel awning system and have a kind of 3 layers, right? The top layer is fixed, doesn't move. The bottom 2 kind of scissor out and have as much solar production as possible. I'm going to try to get some EcoFlow has a RV product. So it would be 15 kilowatt hours of storage, and then have a induction cooktop, pure electric cooking, pure electric everything. Throw the generator out for weight savings. Maybe put the batteries in its place, and then yes, we'll need gasoline to do the driving. So we'll need gasoline, probably 10 miles a gallon, 6,000 miles maybe around America, maybe 7,000, so 700 gallons, right? We'll need to burn 700 gallons of gasoline. But I'm thinking in the summertime, take 50 days or so with the kids, go see America. Like there's so many places in America that I've always wanted to go that we've only flown over or, we've just passed by. So that might be season 1. how to buy an RV for like $15,000, $20,000, spend another $10,000 to renovate it and make it electric. And once you get your destination, right, there's this cool app where you can stay at vineyards and stuff. I bet you Dusty knows what it is. Dusty, sound off. Let us know what the app is. I forget what it's called. It's called like Harvest or something RV. But the point is, you connect with like vineyards and breweries and stuff, and you come and eat at their restaurant, hang out. You get to stay for free on their ground somewhere. There's typically not connections, but if you have an entire solar collection array, you can live out there indefinitely, right? You could be on the road and run your entire life. Get a T-Mobile 5G internet router and take your life on the go. And that sounds incredibly cool to me. My wife is reluctant at this point because having 2 young kids, I think they're going to drive us kind of crazy. A little bit of, they're going to get kind of stir crazy, but we're going to try that out, season 1. So I brought all this up because the comment about Tom made about the boat, season 2, not season 2, who am I kidding? Season 5 or whatever, like 5 years from now, I want to do the same exact thing on a boat. I want to get I don't know that much about boats, like something like a big boat with a couple of bedrooms kind of size, complete solar coverage, batteries, and trying to figure out, like, could I just not sail, but like, could I just propel myself on solar power, electric motors instead of gasoline, right? Now, when you talk about boats, you can add a 0 or 2 to everything, right? If you're buying a $10 light, now it's $100 and stuff. So it's not going to happen anytime soon. But in the future, we've got big plans. We make videos, like educational videos on Thursdays, but we want to do a lot more than that. So I really appreciate it. And whenever I jump on here and I see these chats, it's never about our Thursday like scientific videos. It's always about more pragmatic stuff. It's the practical, everyday things that we can use in our lives. And message received. Claudia says, wife here does not agree. So you do not agree with me that you don't agree, or that, so now you're on board, you're ready to go RVing? Is that what I'm hearing? So Stephen Patterson, hey Stephen, he says, have you visited Babcock Ranch in Florida? What part of Florida? I'm going to put it on my list. We'll make sure to hit it when we do this trip. Alex Link, I think, hit it on the head. He says, off-grid stuff is just expensive. Boating is the most expensive way to live for free. I love it. That's exactly right. I'd have to learn a lot more about boats in general. I've heard kind of, mixed things, but Robert says, check Digital Mermaid channel. She is retrofitting a boat with 100 kilowatt-hour batteries. Wow, that sounds awesome. I'd want to hear more about that. So I had asked KP HVAC about how many nights his EcoFlow River Pro could power his CPAP machine. He says a couple of nights. That's pretty amazing. So it's only using about 30 watts. So it's not a big power draw. Those are the no-brainers, right? Like, if you just had a little EcoFlow River, just even the little ones, Delta 2, and you plugged your router and your home internet into it, like your home internet modem, if you have a cable modem, and the router into it, you would have Wi-Fi where the power was out. And you have a phone, or you have a tablet or something. If you have a laptop with a battery in it, you probably have 10 hours of battery life. You could get work done for 10 hours if you had the internet, right? And a router doesn't use much energy. You could probably power a router and modem for like 10 hours on a Delta 2 or something. So yeah, there's little devices that don't use much power, but they could be a game changer if you can have it running. A refrigerator is actually not that bad. It runs on about 300 watts when it's running, but when it gets cold, it'll turn off for 5 hours or 2, 3, 4 hours, depending on how well insulated it is. And so if you could keep a fridge cold with just a little bit of power, you don't waste food. I mean, think about that. Yeah, it's the big savings. Yeah, I think they're talking about the anchoring and battery charging and stuff. Doesn't that just sound cool? My worry is having kids and bringing my whole family on this is I want to be safe, and I just don't know how safe like international waters are, and there's a lot to research. But maybe I could find some safe route, like along the Gulf of Mexico or somewhere where it's safe enough to do this, and just figure out like how in one day of charging, how far could I go? How can I can I do like some kind of tidal energy generator? That'd be cool, right? It's a whole series. Not coming anytime soon. That'll be like season 3 or 4, but we'll definitely look into it. Oh, Claudia says, do not agree with the boat project. Claudia, I'm gonna convert you. You'll be a boat person by then. Don't worry. Greg says, ditch the fridge and fish for your food. That sounds pretty dang cool. Yeah, I could get on board with that. I'm a horrible fisherman though, so I might be a very hungry boater, but we'll see. So let's see. Yeah. So have any of you guys watched our video this week? It was the space solar thing. I'd love how we're doing, what you guys want to see us do, what kind of topics and stuff. What I've always noticed is there's a huge drop in December, January, February, like the holidays and the beginning of the year. I think it's people are on travel, they're not around as much. But if there's different kinds of topics that you would rather us do, let us know. I would really love to know because I'd love to minimize the pain because last year, January, February was pretty rough for us. So I'd love to minimize the pain and make more content that you guys actually want to see. And if you guys have ideas about that, let me know. KP HVAC says he wants the Delta 2. The Delta 2 is amazingly cool. For Halloween this last year, my wife volunteered at my kid's school, my oldest son's school, for a little Halloween festival. She had a little booth. She had these inflatable ghosts and pumpkins and little lights and stuff. And we ran it all on a Delta 2 over the course of or something like that, which was pretty cool. Did something just change? Thought I just saw something. We're okay? Okay. But yeah. And all the other booths during Halloween had gas generators and it smelled horrible. I remember the food especially. They had two generators on either end of the food table where they had, they were preparing some food. And the smell of gasoline, I'm not used to it anymore. It was just horrible. And our booth was nice and clean and quiet. And yeah, these a portable battery, like an all-in-one battery, is just such a powerful thing. It really is. It comes in handy for a lot of little things. So Michael says, so cool if you could make the RV EV. So maybe what I ran into is that's a big challenge, right? As you can imagine, 100 kilowatt hours for an RV is not that much, but it's a ton of batteries, right? So I'm thinking it'll be down the road. I think step one would be drive on gas, because again, it should be accessible too. Like how many people could build an RV EV? That's just really tough right now. So I'm making videos for like the 1% of people who can afford such a crazy system. And I would struggle desperately to try to afford it. Instead, I think get an old gas RV, just buy gas, and everywhere you go, once you park, you're totally solar powered. You see that? How it just changed? So I think we're at some sort of issue with I don't know. But maybe move that, since that camera is what's triggering it, just kind of move it over. But I'm so glad to connect with you guys. It's been a while. It's been a really busy couple of months, but I'm really happy to report we're now at 350,000 subscribers. We've had a really good end of the year. We had a good push. Our views and stuff have gone up. We're kind of back down right now in December, but we had a really good period. And I really appreciate all of you guys watching and stuff. Robert says link to the Discord. So Mark, I appreciate this, and I think maybe we need to make a video about this. I've thought about it. We made one last year, but he says, please do a public service announcement reminder for California listeners to sound off to Newsom to squash the CPUC plans for net energy metering 3. Yeah, there's some really, like anti-consumer legislation that's happening that would be really bad, and I would definitely like to see. I'd like to maybe make a video about how we could tackle that. It's definitely interesting. Yeah, I think we'll do that, Mark, for sure. So what else is going on? Do you guys have any plans for the holidays and stuff? That's another question. We've only got about a week left before we travel to my mom and dad's house in the Bay Area. Casey, aren't you? No, Casey's in South Carolina. One of you guys, I remember one of our viewers is in, one of the viewers is on the northern part of California. Anyways, I'm not sure. So Alex says the Discord server is empty. Was there a special room or something? Alex, we'll check with you on that. We'll make sure that you're in the right place. But yeah, new roof. You see that?
Yeah, it's switching over to me.
It's that camera on the laptop. So just move that laptop camera toward me a little more. Yeah. Yeah. So never-ending drama of going live. There's probably a loose cable or something going on. But really excited about the next couple of months. What I'm thinking the strategy is going to be, we might reduce the number of science videos that we make on Thursdays down to maybe every other month. Every other week. So 2 a month instead of 4, and take that extra time and do more home stuff. Because what we've been trying to do is find a way to do both, but it is just really tough. If you've been seeing our videos lately, we're putting a lot more time into them. There's a lot more animations and graphics and things that are just time consuming. And we found it difficult. And as a result, the home stuff keeps getting put on pause. But now that the new roof is going up, I think we're going to enter a period where we're going to swap some of the science stuff, I think, for more scientific-y stuff. Like, for example, would you guys watch oh, okay, cool. Not empty after the rules. So would you guys watch a video on some of these experiments? Like, how important is insulation? How important is a reflective white paint, right? So we're planning to paint our house. And I've been starting to do research on like a very reflective, solar reflective paint. Now, we made a video like a year ago on the world's whitest paint. That's not commercially available, so I can't just go out to the store and buy that. But I'm looking for different things like that. So I want to try to get my house, which is horribly inefficient currently, to be a totally passive house. And one of the big challenges is that we have to rip out all the drywall and just gut the house to be able to re-insulate it, to seal all the gaps and things. And that's going to just not just be really expensive, but also very disruptive to our lives. And that's the part that we got to balance. So we'll try to do science experiments first. We'll do some other things that aren't so disruptive and not so expensive, but we'll slowly roll out a ton of home stuff. And that's going to be the strategy the first half of the year, I think. Juan, you on board? We got the guys to do this, and I think you guys will appreciate it. As long as you're watching and we get views, we'll keep doing them. Greg says the world's most racist paint. And I remember Juan asked about, should we change the title, or is it weird? It's like, no, it's because there's also like the world's blackest material, right? Like Vanta Black, which is like, it absorbs 99.9% of light. So as a result, to the eye, it's just like a black hole. There's just nothing over there. And this is the whitest paint. No, these are scientific terms. There's nothing wrong with it. Yes, CES. If anyone is going to CES this year in Las Vegas in early January, Dusty and I will be there, and Claudia. So definitely let us know. I'd love to hang out. Maybe we can do lunch or dinner or something like that. IPP Tutor, who is Israel, one of our writers, is working on a video on a smog-eating roof product. That's like a roof shingle that eats smog and produces fertilizer. It's a really cool concept. That video will be coming out, I think, in 2 weeks. So, yeah. Unfortunately, that wasn't available for me on my house, but maybe it'll be ready by the time you guys do it. Maybe a combo video or a collab with Performance YouTube channel. Have you heard of Home Performance? We'll check them out. There's quite a few that I like, but I don't know that I've watched that one, but we'll check it out.
Let me test something out real quick.
Okay.
Is it no? No, I was just doing it random.
Hey, there I am.
We'll sort this stuff out. Yeah, but Cape HVAC, that sounds good. We'll check that out. I'm not really too familiar, but we'll see what we can do there. Yeah. So Steven says that the Babcock Ranch community was one of the ones that really survived the hurricane. That's interesting. So probably a newer community, built newer standards, and it was fine. Yeah, I mean, it comes down to what we learned, like we mentioned, right? Like the older homes are the ones that suffer because they were built in a time when, yeah, Greg says he got a good face of one, I think. You guys are going to start to see Juan and Bream on more of our videos, because some of these home videos, I'm going to have them run it. Like, they host it. They do the work. They do the camera stuff. Because I'm kind of hitting my limit on how far And I think our camera's hitting its limit as well. But we're kind of hitting the limit on how far the amount of time I have. Writing and research takes a ton. Video editing takes a ton, right? So yeah, you'll see them more on camera. They were in that video we did on the flume water meter, which detected a couple of leaks that we had. By the way, I don't know if I told you. We got to figure it out. So I think with the camera stuff, call it here. But maybe the battery is going out on the camera. I don't know. If the camera went out, it wouldn't come back quickly. But yes, we have a couple of collaboration ideas that we're gonna check into, and stay tuned for videos about this roof and all the data. Right. Also on my Tesla Model 3 and how it's been 3 years since I've had it, and all the data and all that we've learned. So Tesla Model 3 video, all the data, how much it cost me. There's some interesting stuff there. The roofing videos and the solar stuff is coming up. We've got some fun science. Our video next week, I believe, will be on a acoustic heat pump. So stay tuned for that. Guys, I miss you guys, and I'm looking forward to getting this live stuff figured out and dial so we can have guests. So we can send out a link to some of you guys. You can hop down and really just have fun with it. So stay tuned for all of that. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm Rick with Da Vinci.